The second kind of transparency that you can make in order to use photo-based emulsion in screen printing is to print them out on transparency. So you can do this digitally, so you can make a photomechanical transparency. So this is an example of a file that I've been working on for a long time that has two different layers to it. There's kind of a brown layer, like this one here, which would be printed in brown, and then this would be the blue layer that gets printed on top of it. And when you print those two colors together, the blue and the brown mix together and make a pretty dark, kind of grayish black mark. So it's almost like you get three colors out of just the two. So this is an example of, after I've gone through the digital techniques that I'll show you in a minute, that after you go through those, you'll end up with two transparencies, one for one color information, one for the other one, and you can do this in Photoshop and Illustrator, and I'll have a lot of tutorials posted for that. But what you want to do is you want to run this transparency film through a LaserJet printer. So one of the printers in the lab is our best option, and you want to run it through there and make sure you have all the settings set correctly, and then print out each color. And so then when it's on this, these are foolproof transparencies that burn almost perfectly. And when we print these two transparencies together, you're going to end up with an image that looks something like that, except for it's going to have two different colors. Or I could print it in red and green. I could print it in gray and black. There's no real end to the different varieties I could use for this. So, so two transparencies for a two-color process. So when it comes to transparencies for the photo emulsion and screen printing, one of the things that you might want to think about doing is that it's fine just to hand draw transparency, kind of like what I've shown you how to do here, or just to go ahead and print them out. So if you want to, you can do some computer magic work that you know how to do and then print these out this way. But there's no reason in the world that you can't continue to alter and change your transparency. So don't be willing just to settle for what you get. Don't be satisfied with just the first thing that comes out. That's part of what makes handmade printmaking something different than just printing things out of a printer, right? If I could just press print, out it'll come. We want to do something that's a little bit different. So one of the things you might think about doing is, like, for example, on this transparency, there's some few areas over here that didn't quite turn out the way I wanted to. So I can go in there with a Sharpie marker and I can add some lines to this just to try to kind of beef that up. I can go in and add and take away. I can add some more hairs in here because the hairs are always very important with this particular character. There's no reason I can't just draw right into this particular transparency and add things to it. All right? I can also take a tool that's sharp, or even a box knife or an X-Acto knife or something like that. And if I feel like it, I can go in here and I can kind of actually alter and adjust these transparencies by scraping away some of the toner that's on them. So I'll figure out if this is on the front or the back. There you go. So if you do it on the back side, it'll end up, you can scratch lines right into this, and it can give you some really interesting kind of cool effects if you want to go in there and just scrape away the toner that's adhered onto this. And every place where I'm scratching this away now, light's going to come through and it's going to burn that into the screen. So you can add or subtract. You can use, bigger marks if you want to do that. If you want to add in a little bit more of something, kind of fill in an area. Again, these are all kind of cool things that you can do to a transparency after it's been printed. The last thing you can do is don't be afraid to combine them. Why couldn't I take a hand-drawn transparency like this one and kind of layer this one over the top of it, and I could kind of tape these together with some clear tape, and I could burn them, all at once, and now it looks like, this poor guy's got like very much of like a Fu Manchu beard, which, that's pretty awesome. I might have to try this. I could also take this one and, flip it around the other way, and I could try burning through all three of these screens all at the same time. And you would see what would end up happening with those things. So there's no reason to be satisfied with the very first thing that you get. Don't be afraid to experiment and try things. You can scrape away even into things like this, where you just kind of scrape away the marks that you've made with Sharpie marker, with Prismacolor, with anything. And I can always go in here and add, add a little bit more, line to this and punch that up, and then scrape away from the Sharpie marker if I feel like it, so I can go in there and remove that out of there too. So lots and lots of options and amazing things that you can do. It's really up to you and your creativity when it comes time to building your your image.